Welcome to Champion Stepdad podcast. We are exploring the unique role of stepdads, stepfathers, and bonus dads, and how to apply performance psychology skills to become better father figures and role models. Join the Champion Stepdad Facebook group, share with other stepdads, and help build the community. I'm your host, Neil Wattier, and today I am following up on a post I made in the Champion Stepdad Facebook group. The post went like this: mental health, self-awareness, and accountability are not meant to restrict how you think and feel. Deliberately processing your thoughts and feelings leads to mental toughness, resilience, and optimal performance. Now, that's the main topic, and I'm going to get to that in a moment. There's a couple things I want to share with you real quick. First, we're starting to see a really good amount of conversation in the Facebook group, and I really appreciate the number of people that are posting and engaging and continuing the conversations. And within that, if you're listening, Nick, I want to say, keep your head up, brother. I appreciate you bringing up your frustration, and I hope that we've been some help to you. Now, although this specific comment is meant for Nick on one specific conversation, one specific post within the Facebook group, we've had several conversations within the group where guys are asking really great questions, and we're starting to see some vulnerability, some willingness to ask tough questions and express frustrations and shortcomings. And I think that's where we start to see the community really starting to grow. People willing to be vulnerable, willing to ask questions, just the willingness to put themselves out there, to ask the questions, or to simply say, I don't know, to say, hey, this is what's going on in my life, and I'm so frustrated, I don't know what to do. And, a part of that conversation, the responses on that particular post, at one point I just had to say, you know what, I don't know. Sometimes we just don't have the answer, but it's the willingness to put yourselves out there and have the conversations and show that we're all having these difficult points in our lives that we struggle. And there's so many variables. There's so many situations when it comes to being a stepdad, between the spouse that you have in the relationship, the potential for the biological father to be in the relationship or gone, or all the different variables that go into the relationships, and the number of children and the biological versus stepchildren. All these different scenarios lend to so many different scenarios that we can't possibly have answers for everything. And I don't think anybody really expects me or anyone else to have all the answers, but I think the willingness to have the conversations is where the real power is, to connect with each other and to grow that community. So one day, maybe I do have an answer for you for a certain scenario, or maybe I'm having some kind of trouble and you're willing to put something out of, hey, this is the situation that I was in, and this is how I handled it. That's where this community is really going to grow and really do amazing things for each other. That's what the community is meant for: learning, growing, and supporting. If you're a stepdad, if you're listening to this podcast, please join the Facebook group and let's grow your band of brothers. The second thing that I want to bring up before we get to the main topic, on the last episode, I teased a little of information about building the community. And one of the things I wanted to share with you is an amazing lineup of guests that I'm going to start having on the podcast. James Golden is a Champion Stepdad member. He was a guest on episode 3. He's going to come back on again. He's a great leader, coach, podcast host, and a recent contributor to a book called $1 Million Dads. Also have Mark Langford. He's a resilience coach from the UK. He's also skilled in neuro-linguistic programming and hypnotherapy. Austin James, another Champion Stepdad community member. He's a self-proclaimed digital wizard, foodie, podcaster, and a dad. Him and I have been trying to connect for a while, and I'm glad that he's finally going to be coming on the podcast. Sean O'Gorman, fellas, you're going to love this one. Dude is a former Australian police officer, now a trainer and a coach for his business that he calls the Strong Life Project. Go subscribe to this podcast. It is a daily listen for me. It's no BS, in your face accountability. You're going to love it. Matt Storm, I connected with him on Clubhouse. He hosts a whole bunch of rooms and does talks on manhood and fatherhood. One of his groups is called "Are You Man Enough?" and it challenges and celebrates everything to do with being a great man. Guillermo Bailey is a real good friend of mine. He is my financial professional, works for Principal. We're talking about having him come on and talk about financial wellness. Remember that elite level results require elite performance in every area of your life. And I figured a financial wellness discussion would go well with that. Speaking of wellness, Steve Carr, another friend from the UK, Steve's a mental health first aid instructor, a workplace well-being trainer, and a suicide first aid tutor. So a great lineup of people that I'm going to be having on the show. We're going to have some great conversations. If you have a specific topic you'd like addressed, or you know of someone who would make a great addition to the show, let them know or let me know, and I'll make it happen. So let's get to the primary topic of today's episode. It's a recent post I made in the Champion Stepdad Facebook group. We're going to read it again. Mental health, self-awareness, and accountability are not meant to restrict how you think and feel. Deliberately processing your thoughts and feelings leads to mental toughness, resilience, and optimal performance. And I want to set a shout out to Tyler, who asked about making this a podcast episode. So let's get to it. Your emotions and your physical reactions are the result of your thoughts. Emotional control is the result of effective self-talk. This is common if you've ever been an athlete. Think about pregame. What are the things that you say to yourself to get yourself into game mode? Okay. So self-talk determines your emotions and your physical reactions. Now, this skill, it's referred to as the ATC model, actions, thoughts, and consequences. This is at least a 1.5 hour workshop in and of itself, at least. And today we're totally just going to skim the main points, but we're going to try to hit on the most important ones. And if you have any questions, hit me up and let's talk about this. I want you to imagine for a moment. Imagine you're in an argument with someone that you care about. Key points there. Argument with someone you care about. Now, during this argument, a thought pops into your head. You think to yourself, they never listen to what I have to say. How does that make you feel? Are you frustrated? Are you angry? Are you sad? What are your physical reactions? Maybe you experienced increased heart rate, tensed muscles, maybe shallow breathing, and now you're just spinning yourself up. What kind of behaviors do these emotions and these reactions lead to? Do you talk louder or interrupt more because you don't feel like you're being heard? Or maybe the opposite. Maybe you stop talking or you walk away. Thoughts are powerful and they have a dramatic effect on emotions and physical reactions. And let's take this back. Let's walk this back a little further. You are a combination of nature and nurture. Your personality is determined by both biological factors and your life experiences. Who you are and what you've experienced governs your belief system. Your belief system has a major impact on how you think. So let's look at that. You have emotions and you have physical reactions. Those are determined by your thoughts. Your thoughts are governed by your belief system. Your belief system is pretty much determined by your personality and your experiences, the combination of those two things. Now, this is a lot of self-awareness going on here, right? But think about that. Work that backwards. So I want you to go back to the previous example. You're in an argument with someone that you care about, and you think they never listen to what I have to say. Now you're frustrated with an elevated heart rate and you're raising your voice to be heard. However, now you understand the power of self-talk and how to productively affect emotions and physical reactions. So since you care about this person, you want a productive end to the argument. And again, keywords, productive end. You don't want to win the argument. You want a productive end to the argument. So in order to more effectively deal with the conflict, you want to feel empathy and compassion. That's the result. What can you say to yourself to drive feelings of empathy and compassion in a heated argument? How about, I really care about this person and I want a productive end of this conversation? Very to the point. I want to end this conversation. I want it to be productive. I care about this person. Having those thoughts will help drive empathy and compassion. You are more able to feel the productive emotions, and you're more likely to experience effective physical reactions, such as deliberate breathing, which allows you to slow your heart rate, relax your muscles, and helps you listen for understanding. Because rather than arguing, you're looking for the way out, the right way out to end the conversation or to end the argument productively, right? Not just escape and not to win. You're looking for the productive end. So therefore, you tell yourself something. I care about this person and I want a productive end of this argument. Drives, drives emotion and compassion and understanding. So one more time, I'm going to read the post that I put on Facebook. Mental health, self-awareness, and accountability are not meant to restrict how you think and feel. Deliberately processing your thoughts and feelings leads to mental toughness, resilience, and optimal performance. Effective self-talk for emotional control is what we're talking about. You have effective self-talk, you're more likely to have productive emotions. So therefore, you're controlling, because the emotions are the reaction, right? The emotions and the physical reactions are the result. So if they're the end result, that means that you can determine what they're going to be. You want to feel empathy and compassion, not frustration. So what do you need to say to yourself? Deliberate effort to regulate your self-talk. This is an accountability tool. Sometimes thoughts just pop into our heads, and that's okay. But you have to be able to deal with it and then turn it around and tell yourself, you know what? Wait a minute. No, that's not okay. I don't want to think that way. I want to have more productive. I want to have more effective thoughts. Likewise, sometimes we feel emotions and we don't understand why. Suddenly we were just frustrated, or suddenly we're just angry, or suddenly we're sad, right? And so now that you see the process of how this works, you can work it backwards and hold yourself accountable. I feel jealousy. What thoughts am I having that drives the emotion of jealousy? What are you telling yourself that's driving jealousy? It's an accountability. It's a self-awareness tool. You can't self-regulate until you're self-aware. This is a self-awareness tool. You can understand self-talk drives emotions and physical reactions. If you feel a certain way, emotional or physical, you can work that backwards. What am I saying to myself that's driving this? Self-awareness and self-regulation will make you more mentally strong, resilient, and lead to more optimal performance in every area of your life. So pay attention to your emotions. Recognize the thoughts that are driving those emotions. Hold your belief system accountable so you can think more effectively and have more productive emotions. Now, this skill is also very valuable for understanding and communicating with others who may not be aware of the belief, thought, emotion connection. So before you get upset or frustrated with your children or with your spouse, ask them what they're feeling. And then ask what beliefs or thoughts are leading to those emotions. They don't necessarily have to understand how it works. You don't have to sit down and explain it to them, but just ask them, what are you feeling right now? What the word emotion. Don't tell me a thought. Tell me an emotion. What are you feeling right now? And then what led to you feeling that way? And have a conversation with people. Your ability to ask questions, listen, and allow the other person to work through their conflict will show a great deal of empathy. And it has amazing potential for deeper connection. So hit me up and let's talk about self-talk and emotional control. My name's Neil Wattier. Thanks for listening. Please subscribe to the podcast. Join me in the Champion Stepdad Facebook group and build your band of brothers.